before we move on to any further developments, I would like to do a little bit of reflection together with you. So it's to think back to one of the design choices that we made, which is about the invariance for the birthday. Okay, the birthday class over here. Okay, go to the birthday class and then go all the way to the end. So I would like to talk about this particular invariant with you by posing a question. Okay, let me switch to iPad over here to state my question. Okay, so recall this particular invariant we did previously, which is correct. So we say either, okay, so this case must be true, this case must be true, and also this case must be true. And we're using parentheses to actually make sure the order of evaluation is as intended. Okay, so now I have one question for you. Here we are simply using implication over here, right? Implication, implication, and implication. Especially these three occurrences of the implication, 1, 2, and 3. My question is, can we change from implies to conjunction? Let's say conjunction would be blue. Can we use and here, and here, and here? Would it work? If so, why? If not, why not? Pause the video and think a little bit more carefully about your answer. Okay, I already gave you some hints by suggesting some examples you may want to run to either prove or disprove the answer, right? So let's say we can talk about June 23rd. Also, we can talk about January 12th, which I will go over with you in a moment. Okay. Okay, assuming that you have already thought about the issue here, let's first of all try this on the machine and see if the invariant will actually work. Well, if we still get a green bar by modifying the invariance, that means no invariant violation actually occurs. So as far as the test cases are concerned, these two sets of invariants are actually equivalent. So they should be equally correct, right? So why don't we simply go to iPhone Studio over here. Let's do the hypothetical change together. And over here, and over here, and also and over here, right? Make sure we compile, so everything will be in effects, the new changes. Okay, so now let's try run and run workbench system. Not very good. So you can see from this, we actually got class invariant violation, which means the new invariant that we got is not being satisfied, whereas you used to be satisfied. Okay, so it seems like the answer to this question over here is no, you cannot. You shouldn't, because if you did it, you're going to get class invariant violation. Okay, agree? The answer is no, you cannot do it. Okay, let me just change it back, and then make sure we get a green bar. And then I need to explain to you why. Because it really has to do with some fundamental difference between implication and conjunction. That's something I would like to mention briefly to you, because there might be something you are still a little confused or you have forgotten from your larger course, 1090. Okay, let's say run and then run workbench system. Oh, did I compile? Let's say I compile. And then I would say run workbench system. Okay, good. So I just scare myself. So everything is actually good. So we got a green bar. Okay. So now let's go back to iPad over here. Okay, so now let's think about just one case over here. I'll do one example here. You do the other. Okay. So let's say I will do the June 23rd over here. So why don't I try to run this on the proposed solution that wouldn't work. So if that's June 23rd, it's going to be 6. I'm going to evaluate the 3 conjuncts over here, right? One by one. Let me evaluate the first one. So month over here is going to be 6, and also the day over here is going to be 23rd. Okay, so now is June a month with 31 days? No, it shouldn't, right? Because I think you can only get to June 30th. Okay, so this one should be false. Okay, so now for the let's say conjunct number 1. Okay, for conjunct number 1 over there, we know that this particular expression over here is going to be false, right? Because June does not have 31 days. Okay, it's going to be false. And over here, and now 23 is in between 1 and 31, right? So that will be true. Overall, it's going to be false. And we are done, because you already got one of the conjuncts to be false, and then they are conjoined together. So that means you're going to get false anyway. So the overall result will just be false. That's what invariant is violated. Okay? You might be wondering why this particular invariant will actually work. Let's see. In that case, we still get the same month. Let's say 6 over here, and then 3 over here, right? But you're right, over here, let me just be precise over here. So now for this particular call over here, it will still be false. That's no problem. But now you're basically saying false implies true, which is equivalent to true, right? That's some theorems that you learned from the 1090. Okay, let me just put it here. So false basically implies anything will be just equivalent to true, whereas false and anything will just be false. Please make sure you're okay with this particular quick review of the logic theorems. Okay, and now, so that means in this particular case, we are simply just true. Conceptually, what we are doing is this: if we're using implication, we are saying if the month is really the case that we are talking about, then the consequence should be true. If it is not the case, in this case, June is simply not with 31 days. So in that case, we don't care. So it will just be true. So now if we go on to this particular one, so we got 6 over here, and then we also got 23rd. Sorry, this is not 23rd, but the answer will be the same. 23 and also 23. So now in this case, it's month with 30 days. Yes, indeed. So in that case, it would be true. So that'd be true implies also true, right? 23 also is in the range. So that would still be equivalent to true. So that is to say, we only consider the case where the month is actually in the right range, right? When you say the day should be with between 1 and 30, it better be the case that the month you're talking about only has 30 days, right? But now you're saying that over here, in the alternative case over here, you're really saying, for example, this one here, you're saying not only that it should be between 1 and 31 days, but also it should also be always the month with 31 days. But that's not the case for June. So you're just making too strong the predicates. Okay, hopefully you can see what I'm saying here. One more thing to tell you, okay? This is actually the correct version of the invariance. Why would it work? So why can it catch invalid combination? Let's say we talk about, so June 23rd is actually valid. Why don't we talk about another one that's invalid? Let's say we talk about June, let's say 31st. How about that? Okay, if we do that, in that case, when we evaluate this particular conjuncts over here, so June 6th is with 30 days, right? So that's going to be true. Implies over here, so now 31st, is it within 1 and 30? No, it's not, right? So if you simply say 31st, 31, so it's definitely not. So it's going to be true implies false. And we know very well this one is going to be equivalent to false. So that will give us the proper invariant violation, right? So so if you give any invalid combination, okay? It's a very short discussion over here. However, I think it really stimulates your thoughts about what's the fundamental difference between implies and also and. Between implication and also conjunction. We're going to face many design decisions about the contracts, either precondition, postcondition, or class invariant. And many of the times, the decision will be between either conjunction or implication. So this example here hopefully can give you some motivation to think about which one should we choose. Sometimes you may want to choose implication, in this case, for example, and sometimes you may have to choose conjunction. It depends, okay? Study this example carefully before you move on to the next video for further developments.